Pseudo Planche Pushups and Planche Leans are very effective ways to build upper body strength and can be used as very effective progressions for learning a planche. But there's a little bit of a problem. It's hard to measure how much you're leaning when you do these moves. It's hard not to cheat. But it's also not that hard to lean too far and possibly hurt your shoulders, especially if you're an old guy like me. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a really good training tip on how to do these that I recently came across. The Pseudo Planche push-up is a great way to build general upper body strength and muscle mass in the chest, shoulders, and triceps. But it, along with the planche lean, can also be used as a planche progression that's so effective that in principle, you could learn a planche using only those movements. But in order to do that, you have to be able to lean by a known amount so that you can track your progress and slowly increase the amount of lean by small amounts as you get stronger. And it's actually kind of tricky to do that. Before I go any further, I just want to acknowledge that what I'm about to tell you is not my idea. I shamelessly stole it from Simon of Simonster Strength. There's a link to his video on this topic in the description. I encourage everyone to watch that video. And of course, if you're interested in high-level calisthenics, you should absolutely subscribe to Simon. Unlike me, he actually knows what he's talking about. He is a genuine calisthenics and gymnastics master. If I'm a first-year Padawan, and Alex from Calisthenic Movement is a Jedi, Simon is Yoda. Alright, so there's this problem with planche leans and pseudo planche push-ups. And the problem is that it's very hard to know exactly how much you're leaning. And it's an especially big problem for someone like me. I'm old and I already have shoulder problems. Last year I almost popped my shoulder out of the socket working on planches. So, I really don't want to lean too far. But if I don't lean far enough, I won't make any progress at all. I want to be able to progress, but by very small and controllable increments. I saw a video a long time ago, I think it was Fitness FAQs, where he advocated measuring the lean by placing your hands a measured distance away from a wall, like this. I tried that, but that method is problematic. If you lean so that your head touches the wall at the top, then you can't lower down because your head immediately runs into the wall. And if you arrange things so that your head touches the wall at the bottom, then you have no way of controlling how much lean you're getting at the top. You can massively cheat it just by moving your feet around a little bit. A couple of inches makes a huge difference in the difficulty of the lean. I did try this method for a while, but really, it's a mess. There's just no way to do this and not cheat. As you get tired, you tend to lean a little bit less on every rep. And even if you're just doing planche leans, this method doesn't work great. Unless your head is actually touching the wall, you don't know how much you're leaning. So I started doing something that worked better for me, but that's still not great. I started measuring the distance between my hands and an object on the floor. Here I'm using a tape measure. And then I just try to keep my eyes above the tape measure. It's better than the wall method because you don't have to worry about the wall getting in the way, but it's real easy to convince yourself that your eyes are directly over the tape at the top. You're practically guaranteed to cheat. There's just no way to standardize the amount of lean you're getting. Then I watched Simon's video and discovered the perfect solution, which is, step 1. You measure the distance between your hands and your feet, instead of the distance between your hands and a wall in front of you. And step 2, you put your feet against something so that they can't move. With this trick, it becomes nearly impossible to cheat. You can guarantee that you're doing the same exercise every time you do it. You just put your hands at the same distance from your feet every time. The only way you could cheat this is to pike your body, and it's relatively easy to avoid doing that. As soon as I saw this, I kicked myself that I didn't think of it. Let me just show you the fine points of how I do it. I find that putting the tops of my feet on the ground can be painful. My toes often cramp when I do that. So I want to do it with the balls of my feet on the ground. It's also a lot more comfortable for me to wear shoes, but I can't put my shoes directly against the wall. I mean, I am king of my own castle. But if I do that, I might get in trouble with my wife. So, I put a foam roller on the floor against the wall. It works better than just the wall anyway. My toes always fall into the same exact position, about 10.5 inches away from the wall, which is nice because it's kind of hard to directly measure the distance between your toes and your fingers. But since I know where my toes are relative to the wall, I can just measure a certain distance from the wall and put my fingers there. For example, In this video, the tips of my fingers are about 55.5 inches from the wall, or about 45 inches from my toes. But since my toes are always in the exact same place, all I have to do is measure the distance from the wall. Incidentally, 45 inches from toes to fingertips would be very impressive if I were 6'4". That would be some lean. But unfortunately, it's not all that impressive since I'm only 5'8". One thing that Simon points out in his video is that if your hands are far enough back, the planche lean can be more intense than a straddle planche. In fact, in principle, the difficulty can be walked right up to the difficulty of a full planche. If you lean enough so that your hands are directly underneath your center of mass, your feet would come off the ground by themselves and you'd be doing a planche. I mean, if you were strong enough to hold it. And I just want to demonstrate something that probably most of you are already aware of. That as your hands move closer to your feet, they actually hold up more weight. I measured the weight my arms are holding up by putting my hands on a scale in a push-up position. Here I positioned the scale so that my arms go more or less straight down, like a standard push-up. The scale reads 104 pounds. If I position the scale 4 inches back, the scale reads 111 pounds. 4 more inches back and it reads 117 pounds. 2 more inches back and it reads 119.5 pounds. At that point, it was starting to hurt my shoulders, and I didn't want to risk going any further. So as you move into a less and less mechanically advantaged position, your arms are also holding up more and more weight. That's why the planche is so freaking hard, and why it's dangerous for old guys like me. For me, it's not just about progress, it's also about trying to not end my career. Last year I took the lean further than I was ready for, and I put myself out of commission for over a year. So that's why I think this method is so useful. I'm pretty comfortable now that I can progress safely. I can move my hands back by as little as 1/4 of an inch if I need to. I also like that this method allows you to do both a static move, the planche lean, and a dynamic move, planche push-ups. So it's definitely plausible that you could learn a planche using only these moves. Unfortunately, I can't personally verify that. Yet. Hopefully in the future. If I learn it, I'll definitely let you know. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts. Has anyone out there ever heard of anyone learning a planche in their mid to late 50s? If so, let me know. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more content like this. Good luck with your training, and I'll see you in the next video.